Hello and welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Jolley Jarvis, and today we are talking around making the most and maximizing your sales at Christmas, even if your product is not Christmassy. I know, bear with. But first of all, I want to do a super quick update for you on what's been happening at Selling Without Sleeves HQ. So we are still making alterations to the funnel, so many extra bits. It seems like it's kind of mass producing additional videos that I need to provide and all these extra things I need to do. I know it's really good. Is it sometimes though, even when you know it's really good? Hard work? Yes, of course. And that's the situation I'm in. It's going to be really good. It's really exciting. I just wish I wasn't the person having to do all the videos. But there we go. So we are aiming for Friday. So today I'm recording it on Wednesday, the podcast on Wednesday, it going out tomorrow, and we are aiming for Friday. Realistically, I think I have quite a hefty VSL to do for the landing page, unless we go with the original. So bearing that in mind, I think that we are probably looking at Wednesday before we do it, but I might be wrong. So, which is obviously very painfully near to Christmas at this point, but we will see. So exciting times, busy times. If you want to get the book in its current format without any of the bonuses and additional things that we're doing, but you want it in a paper copy, then please do go to the link which is in the notes to get it now, because it will not be available for much longer in that price point, in that format. So yeah, if you want it, go and get it. Last minute, there's been a last minute flurry of sign-ups for the Selling Without Sleeves accelerator and one-to-one. So again, things are changing, things are evolving. I'm needing to change the way that I am working and the amount of contact people have with me. So my accelerator program going forwards is going to have fewer touch points. So the natural selling accelerator, which is what it's going to be called, will have the real proper one-to-one focus time, including half day with your with you working on your business, looking at the business, and a really hefty onboarding document. So really exciting, evolving really of the accelerator, and the sort of for less touch points, for people who don't want that level of commitment. There is a lower level, but it's a lot more sort of group based and not that one-to-one. You're still going to have access to the same resources, you're still going to have access to me, but it won't be as really intense, basically. So depending on where your business is at, I'll make that recommendation on which one is best for you. But I'm really excited to be able to still offer that, and I'm so passionate over my one-to-one, and having that one-to-one and getting to know people's businesses, that I'm really excited that I'm able to do that. So that is all very exciting. The planning event. So the planning events that I ran over the last couple of weeks have had some really great results. Already I've got one company who are actually doing like a proper day at the beginning of January where they're rolling out their plan, not something they've ever done before, and they've done that off the back of the day that they've spent with me, so I'm really excited about that. I've got another one who they're sharing it between departments, and so everyone's getting that same structure. I was like, you know what, I should come and do a session next time with everybody, but it's really key that you're consistent, and if you've learnt something new, be sharing it within your organization to maximize it, so that everyone's upping and developing at the same pace. And people are always worried over sharing stuff because it's like, oh well, this is my sort of competitive advantages, this is my thing, but actually they can push you to improve. They're always going to be that one step behind you, and that was the thing with sales, was as an organization, the sales team is competing against each other. However, sharing as best practice meant that you're kind of raising the bar, and you're always ahead of that bar if you're the person feeding back to everybody else. So do not worry about some healthy competition, or some opportunity to help people to get where you are and push you that bit further. Last thing is, if you are enjoying the podcast, please do subscribe, and follow and review, so that we can get that feedback from you, and you can help mold and grow the Selling Without Sleeves podcast. So that is the update for you. Now we're on to seasonal selling. So with seasonal selling, you kind of fit into three camps. Okay, you have The first camp, which is, you are making hay whilst the sun shines. Your product is gifty, or it can be made gifty. And so you're in a position where you are pushing that product, you are wanting to make the most of Christmas. Okay, I would assume that you're probably not listening to this podcast right now because you'll be busy doing stuff within the business, unless, of course, you've got some sort of mundane tasks that you listen to podcasts whilst doing. But it's about making the most of that. And I will come on to how you can maximize this time of year if it's not necessarily going the way you want it to be going. Hence, you have the opportunity to listen to podcasts, etc. Still, you're not being run ragged. The other option, the other potential camp, is that you are you're not a product. You don't have a product or service that is Christmassy, that can be gifted. However, your customer base does. Okay, and I'm thinking, because I have a client in this sector at the moment, at the hair industry. That's a real example of where, okay, it's not been gifted, but it's very busy around Christmas because everyone wants their haircut for Christmas. I know, I was about to say, why does everyone want their haircut for Christmas? But I've clearly had a haircut. People want to look nice for the Christmas season. I haven't had my nails doing quite well, though. That's a long story. People want to get themselves looking nice. So that means that if you are selling into hairdressers right now, this is not the time to be contacting them because they are super busy with everyone wanting their hair done and looking nice for not just Christmas parties, but also for the Christmas season as a whole. Then you've got the third camp, okay, which is, your product isn't in demand at Christmas. Or your service isn't in demand at Christmas, and neither is your clients. Okay, so you are both kind of sat there on the sidelines watching everybody else with this mad scramble and flurry of business and sales and demand. So you are in one of those three camps. I can't think of any other camp that you would be in right now. And so taking into consideration those three camps, I keep looking at my iPad so I'm not missing any points, is, the number one, if you're in that situation, that number one situation, and this is your time to shine, this is an opportunity for you to make sales, you're probably going to see a lull come January, then when people get onto other stuff or their sense of urgency is not there, then this is your opportunity to maximize those sales. Now, if you're not getting sales, if you're not achieving sales right now, then what can you be doing? The first thing that I would say, and if you only take one thing away from this, is don't give up. Okay, keep that energy going. You have 8 days until Christmas when this goes out. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So you have 8 days till Christmas to make the most of that opportunity. So don't be disheartened. Being disheartened, being down, being negative is not going to sell your stuff. Okay, no one wants to buy from somebody who is whinging right now. Okay, so suck it up, think positive thoughts, put on that face and get out there and sell. Okay, if you looking at beyond the last postal. So if you're something that is posted out, looking beyond that last postal date, aiming for that last postal date, telling people when the last postal date is, emailing them out, letting them all know, informing them, keeping your customer base educated and up to date with what's going on. Let them know when the last postal date is, and then is there an option of you being able to offer something beyond that? Okay, so if you can't send out the physical item in time, can they download a gift, an IOU, a voucher, whatever, and have that at the ready to maximize those sales beyond that postal time when they can't get a physical item anymore, because people are all in the same position. I mean, you have got Amazon and you have got other people where you can pick things up to Christmas Eve, but for a lot of people are restricted by postage. So allow for that, and don't stop if you don't have to. Offer something where you can. For those of you which have a more vouchery product, your time to shine is coming up. Those last minute purchases, those little stocking fillers, those, people have put presents together and realised they haven't got an awful lot for, Uncle Bob. And it's like, right, okay, what can I get them from a voucher point of view? And so, this is your time to shine. Get at the ready. Make sure you've got all the information there. Make sure you're educating your market. Get in there first. Let them know how you can help them. This is not the time to do something crazy with your marketing, okay? This is not the time to try new, weird and wonderful stuff or a different market or anything else. Focus in on where you can get customers, where your customer is hanging out, okay? If this has illustrated to you, if this has put a massive magnifying glass on your ability to determine where your ideal customer is, then that's that's an issue for another time. Okay, it's done that. You're in this position now. Make the most of now. Do what you can now, and then we can regroup come January, when I'm going to let you know at the end about the format for the next couple of podcasts. So don't do anything crazy knee-jerky right now. Try and be consistent. Try and hold your hold your line, but hold your nerve, and continue doing what you're doing. Continue doing what helps you and makes it work. So keep going on that. If you haven't got any traction, so saying that, it's not, what I'm saying with that is this is not the time to try a new ads platform. This isn't time to go crazy. Okay. However, if you're getting sales, then continue as you are. Okay. If you are getting no traction, it is tumbleweed, nobody's interested. Okay. Then there's absolutely no harm in trying something different. You might as well do something. Okay. Banging that exact drum isn't working in that exact location. So go and drum a different drum, or go to a different location with that drum. Okay, and what I mean by that, to break that metaphor down, is look at a different market sector and put your messaging in that area and see what resonates, see if it resonates. Equally, you can put your you can tweak your messaging. So look to your current audience, look to your current area of the market, your current platform, and alter up your messaging so that it does resonate. Okay, so if you are getting sales, if you're getting any level of sales, continue pushing. Remember, it's really, really noisy and really, really busy right now. If, however, you are getting zero sales, zero interaction, then you might as well try something different, because what you're currently doing isn't working. Okay, so there's no point holding your nerve, because you're holding your nerve on something that has no traction. It's having no impact. So, you're not cutting through the crowd. You're not being specific enough with who you're talking to. You're not being, it's not resonating for whatever reason. Okay, or you're shouting it in the wrong place. Now, my first step would be to look at shouting it in the same place, but shout something different, because you know that audience. To try a new audience and to carve your position out in that audience at this time of the hour is not useful. You're unlikely to get as much traction as if you test a new messaging, a new approach in your audience. But if a new messaging doesn't work, then, keep trying. If nothing else, this becomes market research for you. I tried this and it didn't work. Christmas is the harshest time of year when it's so busy to test things. Okay, so if it worked during this time of year, then it's going to potentially work at other times of year. Equally, if it didn't work now, you have tested it at the harshest time. So, it's try somewhere new or try a new message. Okay, don't give up. Don't do nothing. Yeah, if you're doing nothing, you've got nothing to learn from it. If nothing else, you can go and you can say, well, I tried this and it didn't work, and I can try that and it didn't work. So you can cross those off the list and you can start with a new list. Okay, you can start with a new area to develop, new things to try in the new year. So in the first week of January, the podcast that week is going to be reflecting on 2021, what our learnings are, what we want to repeat and what we want to avoid going forwards. So tune into that one on the first week of January, the first Thursday of January, where we're going to be running through all that. Make sure you give it all your all. Make sure that when it comes to it, after the Christmas period, after the busy period, you can think, you know what, I tried. I couldn't have given it any more. Okay? As long as you can walk away with that, you can work on the rest. But if you haven't given it your all, do you know if it was because of the lack of effort you put in, or is it because of the market? You just don't know. Situation 2 is you are not busy, you haven't got any demand as far as Christmas is concerned, so you can't go gifting what you provide. Okay, you're either B2B or you are B2C, but it's something they really don't want right now. The example that I used before was hairdressers. So, I have a client who sells into hairdressers. Hairdressers are super busy right now because although you're not going to gift it, it is something that is in demand over Christmas. It's nice hair. So hairdressers are super busy. Okay, so that means that your really successful, super busy clients aren't really going to want to hear from you right now. But you can think, how can I support them? Is there a way in which you can support them, that you can position yourself as a partnership rather than just you providing a product and then buying it? If there is an opportunity for that, then jump on it, because that will build that relationship. So if you can help them in any way, do so, but it's freeing up their time, not taking up more of it. If you have clients who aren't busy, then why aren't they busy? They're not so busy because they're not so successful. And is there something you can do to help them, to get them on board? If their business grows, your business grows. Equally, you don't want to be in a position where you are more bought into that person's success than they are. However, if you can offer support, if you can do something right now, that will, if you're trying to, if they're your ideal clients, or they can be your ideal clients, you can nurture them into the position where they're your ideal clients, then take that opportunity, use that resource, use that time. It's very easy at this time of year to give yourself a little bit of a, I'm just not going to bother. Okay, you can not bother, that's absolutely fine, but don't lie to yourself. Yeah, just let yourself know that I'm doing this because I'm choosing to not work. I'm going to give myself some time out because I've worked really hard this year. Don't say, oh, I'd really love to, but I can't because everyone's just too busy and there's no point. You don't know that until you get multiple people turning you away and getting angry with you. You don't know you're a nuisance until that point. And I'm yet to find a client who actually, when they are working hard and they are still reaching out, don't get a response back. I had a client today who I gave this conversation. I was going to say lecture, but I wasn't lecturing them. But I was shimmying them up. I was getting them because they were like, oh, there's no point. Everyone's so busy. There's no point contacting anyone this side of Christmas. Okay, right. But then your competition is saying exactly the same thing, and actually those people who are they're not actually as busy, they're potentially not as busy, they're not like the hairdressers, they're not as busy as you think they might be. Their phones aren't ringing because other people are saying, oh, you know what, let's leave it to the new year. And let's be honest, there are very few key decisions going to be made during these 3 days. People are going to wait, sit on it until after Christmas. That's what they're going to do. But that does not mean you can't get appointments in the diary. So I said to this client, you know what, just get appointments in the diary for January. You're going to be ahead of your competition. You're going to be having conversations with these people, and you're going to be that bit further along the process. So that's what they did. And they just sent me an email, a screenshot of an email about 10 minutes ago before I came on the podcast, to tell me that they've got the third biggest distributor in the UK interested in their product and wanting to look at launching it early next year. And so actually, off that effort that they've put in and that outreach that they've done, they've actually got traction back. And so what does that do? That shows you that actually there is demand out there. There is people still interested in having conversations because they're still got to be at work too, so they might as well be doing something. So get out there and have those conversations. Okay, you can be following up potential clients. You could be following up people who, for whatever reason, the conversation's kind of gone a bit cold and you haven't heard from them recently. There's things that you can be doing at this stage to make sure that you are getting yourself in the best position for next year to generate sales, if not making sales now. If your customer base is genuinely all busy and there isn't a fraction of that market, or you've spoken to everybody you can, then, this is your time to prepare and plan and get ready for 2022 so you can do really, really well. There's no point busying yourself, being super busy, get to Christmas Eve, get off until the new year, and then turn back in the new year and you've got absolutely nothing prepared. Give yourself some time, therefore, to, rather than doing the extracurricular additional development, do the basics of the development and then get your ducks in a row, get yourself sorted, and that might be actually giving yourself an extra couple of days off. You know what, I've worked really hard this year. Why not? You work for yourself. There's absolutely no reason not to. But please, when you do give yourself time out, when you do give yourself a little perk, which is a perk of working for yourself, which sometimes feels like there's not many, okay, then remind yourself of that. Remind yourself when you got to go to the nativity play that you got to go to the nativity play and that actually you wouldn't have done had you worked for somebody else. Remind yourself that actually I'm going to give myself a couple more days because no one's counting my holidays because I work for myself. Yeah? So remind yourself that this is what's happening and that it's a good thing. So that when the more tricky times come, when it comes to running your own business, you're aware of it. You can also do, if you don't want to take time out, you can do some training. Okay, you can do your taxes, you can do admin, you can get your accounts sorted out, so everything is ready next year. And the most annoying thing for me is when I speak to clients and they're like, I'm not very busy before Christmas, and then come January, I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, we're doing tax stuff. And I was like, why aren't you doing tax stuff before Christmas? Shimmy your accountant along, chase them, get yourself in a position where you know what's happening and you can crack on come January, not be held up with boring stuff that isn't sales and isn't marketing. Then it comes on to the last scenario. you and your customer are a little bit of a loose end. You're sidelined, you're watching everybody else in this scramble for sales and products and gifts and everything else before Christmas, and you're just sat there watching it all go on. If that is the case, this is a great opportunity to start up those conversations, to reinforce your relationship with that person, to encourage them to take training. People have started with me now because they have a bit of a lull time, and they have that opportunity to upskill themselves ahead of the new year. And so use that time. So encourage people. If your customer base actually within a week could have upskilled themselves in your area, they could have used your resources, tell them. You could have X amount of knowledge behind you by Christmas by doing the stuff now. Yeah. If that's what you truly believe. Yeah. If you truly believe this will provide them with value, and if it will be truly useful to them, they're not going to forget it in the space of a week. They've upskilled themselves and they're good and they're ready to go. So if you're not in a position where you can say, hey, use my training, then use it as an opportunity to have a conversation with them. Use it for market research. Ask them what's going on, what problems they've experienced this year. Do a bit of a review with them. Find out where the highs and the lows have been, where you've come in handy, where you could have come in handier, and understand where that's at. You could do that over a cup of coffee. You could do that over the internet, whatever. But finding out how that year's gone for them and how you could have helped them more, how you helped them, it's a really good wrap up for the year. And it's also great feedback that you can use in your marketing. It's really helpful information. It makes you feel good and it cements that relationship. When that customer's telling you how useful you are, then they're saying it. That's a lot stronger than you saying it. And sometimes people are worried over inviting those sorts of conversations in case what comes up, but that problem's there anyway. If you can encourage them to voice that problem, it's much better than them just going along and finding their own solution. As I said before, you can always be arranging appointments for January. Okay, so yes, okay, they might not have an appointment now, that it might not be a good time now, so get one in the diary for January. You're already still one step ahead of not contacting them at all. Remember, the switchboard is still working. If you are not sure who the best person to speak to is, being nice to the switchboard person when it's quieter, there's fewer people ringing, can do no harm. Asking them who's the best person to speak to about this, who manages this. They might not be in, and that's absolutely fine, but you can find out their contact details. Switchboard are still in. Remember that. And they are the key to the different areas. They know who you need to speak to. So if it is a larger organisation you work with, get on the phone and find out. Get things in order. If you and your customers are at a loose end, get things in order and be useful to them. Rest and recuperate. Encourage them to do the same. And then you are there ready to hit the ground running in January, fresh-faced and enthusiastic rather than tired and feeling like you could have done with a bit more of a break. Next week, apparently, we are doing some sort of sales quiz. Jacob's idea. Jacob used to work in radio. Bit more interactive. Apparently I'm going to be fun and do something fun, so that will be an interesting one, so tune in for that. It's an opportunity to be like, yeah, we're just going to chill out. I have no idea what he's got set, and I did toy with the idea of going, Jacob, could you just run these questions past me so I can be prepared? And I thought, no, Sarah, what's the fun in that? And as it's designed to be fun, I'm just going to go with it. Super excited that the following week, so the week between the Thursday between Christmas and New Year, the Inspire series has paused for now. We've done one series of it. We did one lot of interviews and I really, really enjoyed that. That is something I want to repeat. But at the moment, I'm just going to do it in blocks. So it's not going to be every Tuesday by any means. So between Christmas and New Year, we are going to be doing the best of 2021. So we're going to provide you with a compilation of the top 3 podcasts from 2021, and we've really chosen them. I'm really excited to have those run back to back together as a podcast episode, and so yes, watch this space for that one. That will be coming out between Christmas and New Year. Hopefully you can tune in for that one. And then the big first Thursday of January, so it's actually, I think it's January the 7th or something, so the first Thursday in January, you will be doing the review of 2021, where we look at where our sales and how our sales have gone in 2021 and what we want to learn and take forwards into 2022, to either repeat or absolutely definitely at all costs avoid. So please do tune in for those. Thank you so much for listening as always. Bye for now. Happy selling.